If you regularly push through exhaustion, ignore a skipped dinner, and force yourself to stare at a screen at 3 in the morning, you probably consider yourself highly disciplined. Psychologists call this trait conscientiousness. In the brain, this manifests as a rigid physical management system. This anatomical model highlights your internal management system. Specifically, we are looking at the lateral prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex. When you grit your teeth and push through a deadline, you are actively using these two biological regions to manually override and suppress your body's natural distress signals. The human brain demands more energy relative to its mass than any other organ. This data visualization maps the disparity. The brain makes up barely 2% of your total body mass, yet it demands a massive 20% of your body's total energy supply. In physical terms, that internal drain equals about 20 watts of continuous power. Your entire intellect, your memory, and your focus run on the same amount of electricity it takes to power a single dim light bulb in a refrigerator. Every time you force yourself to parse complex logic or stare at boring data, you are drawing electricity directly from that highly restricted 20-watt supply. Because the physical power supply is strictly finite, paying attention is a literal biological transaction. It costs you a limited physical resource. This network map visualizes the architecture your brain uses to solve problems, the Central Executive Network, or CEN. It holds your working memory, maintains focus, and deflects incoming distractions. Keeping this system online requires a continuous, massive expenditure of energy and dopamine. When the work is unstimulating and you have to force yourself through it, the burn rate accelerates. You exhaust your daily budget much faster. Forcing the CEN to run indefinitely depletes these neurochemicals faster than the system can replace them, eventually triggering a total operational shutdown. To avoid permanent damage, the brain relies on a secondary biological state, the default mode and processing autobiographical memories. This chart shows the stark difference in maintenance. While the active sun is an energy glutton, the DMN relies on passive, low-level energy consumption. Your brain is constantly mediating an internal economic tug-of-war. Every second, it calculates whether a task is worth the massive expense of the active network, or if it should conserve power by dropping back into the default mode. As an organ optimized for survival, the brain will always prioritize energy preservation. Eventually, it will step in and force a switch to the cheaper network to prevent complete system failure. You've likely felt the exact moment that switch happens. It's that sudden, crushing paralysis, where for 2 to 4 days, you physically cannot force yourself to look at your work. This state is clinically identified as a biological fail-safe condition called avolition. This diagram shows the mechanics of that crash. The Central Executive Network enters complete refractoriness. It locks down, becoming tonally unavailable. With the active system offline, the low-cost default mode network completely takes over. It becomes hyperactive, trapping you in distraction and daydreaming. During this lockdown, no amount of guilt, internal screaming, or top-down commands from your inner manager will reboot the active network. The shutdown is absolute. It will persist until your biology has passively restored its baseline levels of neurotransmitters. Willpower is a finite biological resource. It operates on a strict chemical budget